All right, today we're talking about one of the sneakiest little troublemakers in the human body, the pec minor. It sounds small, but believe me, it can cause you big problems.
Yeah, like the guy who insists on doing barbell bicep curls on the squat rack. Small, but it definitely ruins your day.
Totally. If you're finding that your shoulders are tucked forward, that you're hunchy, and you're starting to look like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings, you might need to listen to what we have to tell you in this video.
And today we're going to show you 4 different moves to loosen up those pesky little buggers and get you standing tall again. All right, so step number 1 is going to be with the lacrosse ball or mobility ball. If you're going to skip any step because you don't have time, this would be the one to skip. If you have the time, this is just a great tool in your arsenal. Quick preliminary information on the 4 exercises you're going to see. We're going to show you how you would do them yourself, or if you had a friend, or if you're a trainer working with a client. All right, so step number 1, SMR, self-myofascial release. There's a few different techniques with the mobility ball that you can do. Number 1 is flushing, which is along with the muscle fibers. So we're focused up near our clavicle bone right here, and we're going to move side to side 5 to 10 times real slow with a good amount of pressure. If you find a sticking point where it feels extra achy or like there's a knot in there, you might hang out on there and hold that for a bit. And you can do something called PNF, which is basically where you're activating the muscle while pressing on those points of discomfort. So this one can get a little testy, a little painful. I'll find a spot of pain and then I'm going to internally and externally rotate my shoulder while pressing on that muscle. I'll keep it simple. If you do this for about a minute or 2, you might be surprised how loosened up those muscles can feel.
All right, move number 2. We're going to be going into some stretches for the pec minor. We're going to show you these both if you had a partner or if you're a personal trainer working with a client, and or if you're just doing them yourself. So first one is going to be using a foam roll. We're going to have my partner come on down here, have a seat on the roll, and then lay backwards. Bend your knees, good. Okay, so the pec minor we know connects into the ribs, and then it also connects back onto the shoulder blade. The action of the pec minor is protraction of your shoulder. So it's when you're sliding those shoulders forward. So obviously to stretch it, we want to get in a position where we can retract the shoulders. If you don't have a partner, what you do is you just hop on a foam roll and you just let your shoulders hang. This might seem like it does nothing, but there's a light load going into retraction or those shoulders coming down towards the floor from gravity. You need to do this for a little bit of a longer time than a typical stretch. Typical stretches are usually 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so. This is one where if you're going to do this just using gravity, we're going to do this for several minutes. So anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. Great thing to, at the end of a workout, to kind of practice deep breathing, get a little recovery going, things of that nature. So great way to get this stretching a little bit. Now, if you're a personal trainer or you're working out with somebody that you can assist each other with this, you can apply a lot of force into retraction of the shoulders by placing your hands on the shoulders and then pressing down and also kind of diagonally away to get some pressure into that pec minor and put it on stretch. You feel that, Jeremiah?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this is probably the best one. If you kind of apply that pressure down, I can really feel that stretching. If you want to add in a little bit of contract, relax, you can do that as well. Jeremiah, I'm going to have you push up into my hands. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now relax. And I can feel that really loosening up. You do a few reps of that. But normally if you're adding that pressure yourself by pushing on the client or your workout partner, you don't have to hold it as long. You can do that for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute of that. And you'll be surprised how much your shoulders move backwards and you loosen up that pec minor just from that stretch. All right, let's move it on. Come on up. Next variation of this one. Again, another assisted stretch for the pec minor. I'm going to have you drop your hands at your sides. I'm going to get on the front of Jeremiah's shoulder and I'm going to get on the back of his shoulder blade. So I'm kind of cupping the back side of his shoulder blade and I'm going to pull him into shoulder blade depression and then also retraction. So I'm pulling down and back, locking that in, and you feel a little bit of a stretch even with me doing that, right, on the pec minor. Now, as an added bonus, we're going to have Jeremiah side bend his head to the right. And this is another really great, if you're a trainer, great stretch to do on clients where you feel like the client will really feel like you're kind of like involved in the session, you're doing something good for them. So just getting on there and then pressing it down and back and stretching. This one I normally have, I'll hold it for maybe 20 to 30 seconds like a regular stretch. All right, final version. We're going to have you come up to standing. We're going to take the foam roll, So sometimes you have a client that can't get down to the ground to do that stretch we showed you first. This would be a way to do this, having the client standing. Sometimes with my clients that are a little bit older or maybe don't like to get down to the mat, a great way to do that first stretch. So same exact pressure. You're gonna get on the shoulders and you're gonna be pressing almost kind of diagonally back. So on the shoulders, pressing in, you can see him retracting back and then holding. Same thing applies when you're doing this stretch. You can do 20 to 30 seconds and you can add in those contract, relax techniques as well, where he's pressing forward into my hands for 5 seconds lightly, and then we relax him back even further. So great ones to get that pec minor loosened up. All right, now for the third move. Now that we've kind of loosened things up with a little bit of stretching, maybe a little bit of soft tissue release, now we're going to start to actively use the range of motion that we just gained. As you know, if you watch any of our previous videos, you always want to make sure that if you gain extra range of motion, you then use it so that your body gets kind of like adapted and neurologically competent to use that range that you just gained. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do some wall angels here. This is actually super hard.
Great exercise.
Yeah, great exercise. So palms back on, knuckles on the wall, elbows on the wall, butt on the wall, spine neutral with your spine. And then from there, you're going to press straight up. And you're going to notice Jeremiah has a lot of muscle tissue, so this is going to be really hard for him. And he's getting tons of activation into rear delt, into the rhomboids, into the mid-trapezius. And that's a great way to utilize that extra range of motion that he gained into retraction from loosening up the pec minor. So all these things we're showing you should be done sequential. Step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. And that is way, way harder than it looks. The goal would be able to easily be able to raise your arms all the way up. And even though I'm way better than Jeremiah at that move, it's still hard. I can still definitely feel some very strong contraction of those muscle groups. All right, let's move on to number 4.
All right, so step number 3 that we just did was about activating or priming our new range of motion. Now we're going to actively use this range of motion with standard resistance training, training the muscles that are going to pull our shoulders back. All right, so first of all, I want to say that none of these exercises are necessarily better or worse than others. They're just examples, all that you can use to achieve the same goal. So first one, on the pec deck machine, we're doing reverse fly or rear delt flies, focused on training the muscles on the backs of the shoulder blades. This one you're going to want to go very light with. Exercise number 2 is the band pull apart. Exercise number 3 is a lying handcuff. Here's just another variation of handcuff. It's kind of like a regressed version of a Superman raise. Here we have seated rear delt flies with dumbbells.
This is one of our favorites here at Form Fitness. This is the chest supported scarecrow. This one's kind of like the wall angel, kind of really lights up all those muscles, but a little bit more active movement with it. Here we have the rubber band standing scarecrow. All right, lastly, any type of rowing variation that you want to do, you can really work on focusing on getting a really strong contraction component, which is going to help utilize that range of motion as well. Okay, folks, there you have it. So 4 easy moves: release, stretch, strengthen, and open that thing up.
Open it up.
Open it up.
And if you do these exercises consistently, you're going to feel better, you're going to move better, you're going to look better, and look like you don't live in a cave anymore.
If you benefited from this material, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button for our channel, because we have a lot of this kind of content at the Form Fitness YouTube channel.
And if you have a friend who looks like Quasimodo or just has horrible, horrible posture, send them this video. It'll be a hint.
Have a nice day.